Welcome to the only place where real, raw, and vulnerable conversations happen with IFBB bikini pros to give you an inside look at their struggles, strategies, mindset, passions, and all of life beyond the stage. This podcast is made to inspire, motivate, and remind competitors and the average gym goer that even the most extreme lifestyles and elite athletes have their ups and downs. Thank you so much for tuning in today. I'm your host, Celeste Rains-Turk, and now it's time for the Confessions of a Bikini Pro podcast. Today, we're speaking with a woman who has had a passion for fitness since childhood and started competing after having her fifth child, but she is a mom to 6 children. She went on to compete and win shows all over the country through her 30s and 40s. Then in 2021, won her pro card with a master's victory in Pittsburgh. She's a woman who loves Jesus, fitness, fashion, and aesthetics, being a licensed esthetician since 2007. Yep. And outside of that, and posing coaching. She also owns DNA Glute Lab in Eugene, Oregon, which is an all-women's gym that's open to women all week and men on the weekends. Her story is truly inspiring, and I've only heard a little bit of it. And I can't wait to learn from her and about her with all of you. So welcome to the show, CARRIE GALLIC. How are you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm awesome. So happy to see you.
Thank you. I'm excited to be here.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
I'm excited to have you and I'm grateful. And as you know, I got to ask a question I ask everybody right before we hop in. So that is there anything that you do, think about, or maybe a ritual you have right before your heel hits the stage?
Oh, geez. If there's anything I think about, you know what? I honestly, this is how I calm my nerves. I literally start dancing with everybody. So we have like right before even the pros, right before we get on stage, I just start in my mind, I'm just whatever song's on, I'm dancing, I'm getting everybody else hyped up too. And for some reason, being able to just walk out and just own it, just being me, not calming myself or listening to calming music. Like I literally just start dancing to music, and that's when I get into my own natural rhythm. So of course I give, I pray before always, right? But then I'm like, okay, God, you got this. I'm going on stage. You know the plan. You know what's going on. Here I am. And I just walk out dancing.
Love that.
Seriously. I know.
That's awesome. And I imagine, this is part of your spirit for perspective and gratitude. I see that in you and in everything that you talk about. Your upbringing was really impactful in the way that you live your life and the way that you think. So can you just take us back to your childhood, what your upbringing was like, your parents, and then how this has influenced your lifestyle?
Oh man, do we have like 3 hours?
I know. I was like,
I'm
that's
just
a
kidding.
loaded question.
That's
But
a really big one. Okay. Yeah, so I'll try to do it in a nutshell, but basically, my parents divorced at a young age. I was super young and I was really dysfunctional, and there were a lot of drugs and alcohol involved when I was super young. I didn't know a lot until I got older. When it started, I think it was pretty much my whole life. And uh, basically, my dad got hooked on methamphetamine. Eventually died. I think it's like 5 years ago now, 6 years ago. And my mom just passed away a year ago this November from, I'm going to say from alcohol. It damaged her body. Yes, she got cancer and things happened, but my mom pretty much drank until the day she died. And unfortunately, so I just had a really rough upbringing where drugs and alcohol was like the center of my life. I had like I was very, very poor, and I had like the church bus come and pick me up, and they would rescue me. I swear, it was like we lived in like such poor, drug infested apartments that I think that they just felt like they wanted to make an impact on us. So they came when they pick us up, and there was like that was kind of some saving grace for me. And yeah, I don't even know. My dad also was physically abusive. So there's mental abuse, physical abuse, I'll even say spiritual abuse, and then along with all the drugs and alcohol. We've, got taken away, or I got taken away from my dad from being physically beaten, and oh my gosh, it goes on and on. It was really unhealthy. And so by the time I was 15, I also was going, down that lifestyle. And um I actually did drugs with my dad when I was 15 years old. That's crazy, huh? That's super young. I think about that now because I have a 16-year-old, and I cannot even imagine doing anything like that. But anyway, so long story short, I kind of was going down that path, and like I said, that saving grace, those little deposits of like the church people coming and picking me up in the bus, and other people kind of planting little seeds in my life. I always had a love for Jesus. I just knew. I would write in my diaries as a little girl, like, dear God, what is happening to my family? Dear God, save me. Like, I would write these like stick figures. And I just knew that there was a different plan for my life. So, um, wrestled with things until I was 18 years old. Um, and then I ended up getting married to my high school sweetheart. I turned my life around, and ended up getting married. Um, but and had 3 kids fast. And I kind of like, I don't think I had a strong foundation. And so I reverted back and got divorced, and um, met my husband now, who I have 3 kids with. And we've been together for over 20 years, ups and downs, believe me. By the grace of God, we're here still, 20 plus years later, I will say. Um, but yeah, so I wrestled with drugs and alcohol. Um, and then something happened. I got called out. Somebody called me out, actually said, "Who are you?" And I've had, 2 DUIs at this point. I kept wrestling with the same stuff, pretty much the same as my parents, not methamphetamine. But I mean, I did do coke. I'm going to be honest here. Can I say that? Can I?
Oh,
So,
yes.
so yeah, even after having 3 kids, they didn't see that. I tried to act, right, externally act like, oh, I'm a great mom. I do all this stuff. But really, like, I was still wrestling with things. And I got called out. And that's when I did a search for identity and things, and really got into bodybuilding. And I knew that I needed something. Like, I needed something to hold on to that was going to have me hold me accountable for sobriety, for mental health, for all of the above, if you can imagine, And um, so that's how I got into that. I needed to change my food habits. I mean, really, I grew up on Bob's Burger Express. I'm not sure if everyone will know that, but hamburgers, fast food, and Taco Bell, and things that, and soda. Like, my kids, they can't have soda really. And we will go out and, have a little bit of stuff like that. That's fine, in moderation. But um, I had to somehow completely turn my life around, because the foundation of my life was a crap hole. So, um, yeah. So bodybuilding for me, um, was a pivot point. Someone calling me out to the drugs and alcohol, that wasn't a wake up call. My DUIs, I mean, I've gotten 2 of them. What was going to wake me up? What was it? And I had someone call me out. And I think too, like, just saying, I'll tell you who I am. I had to prove it to myself. Someone did that. And it's not that I want to prove to them. I'm not even friends with that person anymore. But she was right. She was right. Who am I? Let me tell you who I am. And it was just incredible. I actually ended up going to Africa for a month and talking about identity and worth and all of that. And it does tie to bodybuilding for me. It's not that that is my all too, I've taken a step back even now, but for me, it helped me stay, just clean in foods and alcohol and drugs. Um, yeah, you can keep me, yeah, you can ask them. Otherwise, I'll just keep going.
I'm enjoying listening to you speak about it and appreciate you being so open. So it sounds like your childhood was very neglectful. You had 2 parents who didn't have a high regard for your physical, mental, or spiritual well-being, and that was reflected in their actions. And then you experience what it's like to have an attachment to drugs and alcohol. In that moment, did it make you see your parents through a different light and perspective, having started to experience some of maybe the addiction that they had?
Not during the times that I kept falling down. I think I had more resentment because I would blame some stuff on them, you
Yeah,
know,
of
at that
course.
point. Um, but then I got so sick of my own bullshit, to be honest. I got
Mhm.
so sick of it where it was me. It was me at that point. It's my responsibility. It doesn't matter what my dad does or did. It didn't matter what my mom chose to do. It doesn't matter that she was never available for me. I never lived with my mom. I didn't have a mom, really. She was there, but wasn't there. She lived in a different home, never called me, never reached out, wasn't really there. Wasn't a mom. Nurturing, never. Um, so I think resentment and stuff played a huge role during the times, but after I got sober and after I started really finding who I was and how I was going to change like the patterns and the habits and uh, my future, I could cry. Sorry. I think after I got I had more grace for them, compassion. Sorry, this is definitely real life. But I think I have more grace and just understanding how something like that is so powerful and can take over your life. And that's exactly what it did to people. And I felt bad. And honestly, I'm glad, not glad, should I say, I shouldn't say I'm glad that I went through it, but in a way I am because it gave me more grace and compassion for other people. Now, coming through it, right, on the other end, during it, I resented because I hated who I was because I was a product of them, right? I didn't want to be that. Don't ever call me that, right? But the truth is, I am. But I found, I found a healthy outlet for me. And also, I will add, even when I was younger, I've always been into gymnastics and I was so good at sports and athletics, and I didn't have the parents to cultivate it. So I may have had that natural, like, leaning towards, bodybuilding, some kind of sports thing when I got older, physical, because I was always super good at it and had that passion. And I always looked up to bodybuilders since I was a little girl. And but I was never going to get there, until I decided to say, this is going to be the thing that's going to hold you accountable for now. That's that first stepping stone for me. Did I just cry on live TV or on live? Gosh.
Yes, but it was a beautiful moment, and I appreciate you being so raw with your emotions and your experiences. I imagine it's impossible to not go to that place because you crawled and climbed and probably thrashed your way at times through
Yeah.
those
Oh,
challenges that came. And
right.
you're so incredibly strong and resilient. And the fact that what stood out to me was you became emotional thinking about like you had to create a new path for yourself. Um, and now or it appears to be anyways, that you're in that reality, like you've done that. So you said that in retrospect, you can have more compassion, you have a different outlook. But of course, in that time, there would be a lot of resentment and frustration. But you took personal responsibility. You said
Mhm.
it was a wake up call-ish moment when your friend asked you that question. And it wasn't the DUIs, it wasn't any of like the tangible things. It was more so this intangible thing of identity. And I
Yeah.
hear you talk about your faith also. I'm wondering how that from a young age was cultivated in the bus to now as a adult woman and a mother and someone who is nurturing to her family and sees her family as ministry. Like, how did all of that foster and grow within you?
Yeah, I think too. I think back to when I was a little girl, I feel like I'm going to say how it kind of started, I think, and how twisted this may sound, but God can use anything. And I believe he uses the
Mhm.
broken people. All the people in the Bible, you just read their story. A lot of them are broken, right?
Yeah.
So I I believe that my dad loved God. He loved Jesus. Okay. He really did. And I believe he wanted me so bad to know God and to trust him and lean on him, even though he had his addictions. We always want better for our children. I
Mm.
know, if my kids watch this, I mean, they know I've gotten a DUI. I don't know if they know too, and I don't know they know my full story, but um, we always want your kids to be better than you, no matter what. And I think my dad really had this hopes for me that this is my baby girl, and even though I can't be who I need to be, I know that God can be that, and I'm gonna keep speaking that over her life. And so I know that sounds kind of twisted, right? Because he's a druggie and he physically hurt me so many times and mentally and things. And he had a problem. So I forgive all that because I think his childhood, he never fixed, his dad, it's just trauma passed on. It's a domino effect. It's generational curses. So I believe that he had good intentions in doing what he did with me and just feel really short. But anyway, so I think by him depositing those seeds in me, I was hungry for more, and I just had this strong faith. And then the bus from church would come and get me, and again more deposits, right? And then I was really um inspired or just so in awe of when I would go to my friends' homes and I'd watch their mom and watch their dad and how they would interact as a family. I knew at a young age, 6, 7, 8, 9, that what I had at home wasn't normal or what I wanted for my life and for my children. So I just something inside of me was just cultivated as I gotten older, and I kept going to church even on my own as a young girl, even when I was struggling. Can you believe it? Like I would go out the night before and get totally drunk, wasted, and wake up in the morning and I had a guilty conscience. Even though I kept choosing to do that over and over, I would wake up feeling like this isn't what I wanted in life. This is Carrie, this isn't what you said, what you wanted. You've been fighting this. So I would go to church and I would just repent again. And I just it was a cycle. Just kept doing the cycle until I found something to hold me accountable. But um, I think as an adult, don't get me wrong, I struggle, and now it's more like it's more with like my words or my short temper and snap real quick, and I have to ask for forgiveness. It changed, but I think just implementing Christ at a young age, and then something I just stuck. It just stayed. It's in my heart. That's why.
Mm.
Because God didn't just get to my mind where it's just logical. It's the core of who I am. So I don't know. Did that answer your question?
That was beautiful, honestly. Like that's, I think, a wonderful testimony. And I'm sure there's people listening who are maybe in that struggle. And one of the promise really of the gospel is that Jesus loved us enough to die for the sins he knew were hurting us and would hurt us perpetually. He doesn't ask us to do any good work in order to earn his love. We just accept him
Right.
and it's covered. So you showing up on that Sunday morning, even after all those challenges, I think was you accepting him running towards you and you running towards him and knowing that there was love, there was unconditional support, there was a spirit there that really desired to protect you as his child. And I think that's a beautiful thing. And despite your dad's difficulties and struggles and the horrible things that did happen to you, you found peace somewhere that it will never go away. And that's so beautiful.
I think the one thing that just comes to my mind right now is I would always say, but you promised God, like in my mind, like my dad would tell me, you're just like your mom, and you just yell at me in my face. And then after I'd just cry out and I'd be like, but God, you promised, like you'll never leave. Even when my dad passed away, I was like, but you promised. And God is here. He did promise to stay with me. And in fact, he's dwelling in us, right? And like, and I look at it like he didn't just die for my sins, where, okay, just keep forgiving me. It's like, yeah, you died, you did such a huge thing, and you dwell in us. You came to live in us. And so we get to be that change for the world, even if we fail, because we're human. I'm gonna fail. And it may look different. Maybe I don't do the drugs, and maybe I don't drink like that, and maybe, all of these things. But every day I fail. I cuss. I just did it down here, right? So like whatever those things are, I'm gonna fall short. But I know that no matter what, God promised to dwell, He's right here. And for me, that's enough, you know. And I think, I don't know. Also, like being in the Word for me too. We're kind of going. I'm sorry, I'm segueing into just oh God, but
Segue.
it's a
Segue.
huge. It's so big for me too. Like I want to be that kind of person. Like this world is so
Mhm.
messed up. When I look outside and I see all the crap that's happening and the hatred and the gossip and this and even my own stuff, right? So it's a mirror to myself. Like I've done horrible things and I'm sick of all of that. Like I know that I can be a light in this industry, in my family, most importantly, but then the industry and people around me in my gym. And that's my heart. And the only way to do that is to fill your own cup up. If that's your belief system, God is my belief system. And if that's it, then we got to keep pouring. You got to fill that cup up, right? So then it overflows. We can't pour from an empty cup. I know that's so cliche, everyone says it, but it's true. I mean, I'm angry all the time and I'm like, oh, yeah, I haven't been in the word. I haven't been having reflection. I'm just go, 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 and it shows. So
Mhm. Wow. Oh, we came to preach today.
I know. I'm so sorry. No, I love
No,
it though.
I do not apologize. I'm loving this conversation so much. Like my relationship with God has evolved so much over the years, and to be able to have this conversation on this podcast, like it means so much to me. And I just, how can you not talk so positively about it when you're saved? It's like the scales
Uh-huh.
fall off, and you want everybody to experience that unconditional love, and like you said, you want to be an overflow of that. You want people to have the fragrance of Jesus, to see the fruits of him on you and through you. Doesn't mean you're going to be perfect like him, but if you can
No,
live and know his spirit's in you, it's a beautiful thing.
it is. It really is. That's it.
So you said that the most important thing to you is your family. Now
Yeah.
you have 6 kids.
Mhm.
I First of all, I'm amazed. Like, that's incredible. Second of all, like, to have started your competition journey after already having 5 children. Not only at
Mhm.
that point had you had 5 children, but you had 3 children in your first marriage. Went through a divorce, and then you got married to
Yep.
your now husband, who you've been with for 20 plus years, and you guys had another
Three.
two, three children, three. That's right, three
Yeah.
children
Yeah.
together. You started competing after your second child with your current husband. How? Like, this is my big question, I guess. Like, how do you manage or approach competing when you have 6 children?
That's a really good question. Well, I will be honest. Obviously I am honest, but in the beginning, I didn't find the balance. So I didn't have it right. Like I got into it, I had good intentions, but I fell short. And so I will say it's taken me quite a while to finally find the balance. I am type A personality. I'm an extremist. I'm super ADD. We're really good at stuff, and then some things we're really bad at. So like I'm really good at this area of my life. So I'm 110%. Like I'm over the top. And so when I walked into that, after having Solon, yeah, or not Solon, excuse me, after having Ever, um, uh, I gave too much of myself, I will say, I think, and I didn't have that balance. So I just really had to. It was I can't even tell you. I just had to one way go like this and I go like this, and I was like I could not find the balance. So eventually, after figuring things out, I laid down my life. I don't know. I feel that doing one or two shows a year is doable. And I will say that I am always um only like 10 pounds usually away from stage weight, right? Like I'm a bikini person. Granted, I've done physique, I've done figure, I've done wellness, and I'm came back to bikini because that's my heart and it's really attainable for me. It's a lifestyle. So when I go to compete, it's really about the money. Do we have the money to fly to wherever? And is this a good time? Like during the show, during prep show time, like the last 2 months, my husband's also a coach, a basketball coach. So he's super busy with our kids, so too. And so is this a good time? Does it align with his schedule? Because he's going to be super busy and he's going to have to take over the last, whatever it is. So, um, yeah, I just found the balance and it's going to look different for everybody, I guess, due to the body, like my body, of course bodies change and I never someone has stretch marks. I mean, I help coach girls too. Our bodies go back to normal. They do. Do they not all, do they always know? Some don't. Do they have stretch marks sometimes? Sure. Who cares? If that's a goal, a passion, I always say just figure it out. We walk there anyway. We do our best. But fortunately, my body kind of bounced back after all kids, and I worked out through all my pregnancies, so I don't know if that played a role too. But yeah, I think just balance is key. Yeah, I'm trying to figure out that, but I'm
Yeah,
still, it's not perfect. Don't get me wrong, but it's a lot better.
that's incredible. I mean, it sounds like you have to do a lot of testing and tweaking, especially because every day can look different, every week can look different,
Oh,
stuff can come up, and that probably throws a wrench in things. And I think something that I would be regret if I didn't ask you is parents who listen to this podcast will often reach out to me and they want to hear more about like how do parents monitor how they approach meals and snacks and workout schedules and their children because sometimes they struggle to reach their goals because they want to maintain a positive outlook on food and their body for their children, but also like they don't want to cook a million separate meals. So,
yeah.
how do you navigate that?
Oh, that is a really good question because I hear that the most, I will say, because I own a women's gym, right? So most of them are mommies, not all, but most of them are. And they're like, I don't know how, or I make these food and then I end up eating it all. And, you know, um, I did some of that in the beginning too. And again, that's all that stuff I was telling you that you just kind of, you have to, you'll learn it over time. Consistency is key, right? And so over time, when you're putting all this stuff in, you're going to tweak things around where it fits. So what I would do, I do is I try to two different things. I try to incorporate the same foods for them, although I may like say I make um chicken. I don't eat it make it anymore because I don't like it, but just say I do. So I'll barbecue some chicken and we have some veggies and we have some carbs and I just make it yummy and we have soy sauce or cafe yum on the do you know what cafe yum is?
No, I don't.
Okay. I didn't know when I said that. I'm like, I don't know if they have that on the East Coast. People on the West Coast will know, but some sauces and seasonings and whatever. I put that in the middle of the table and thinking flavor their rice or, I will incorporate a boring meal, a healthy, boring meal that is like, standard, normal, because everyone wants, a lot of families will do a grilled chicken or even a hamburger patty. I'll just get better meat, right? So I'll make hamburgers and maybe I don't choose to eat the bread because that's out of my macros. Like I've already had the carbs or I'm doing a rice instead or whatever. So I a lot of times I'll teach my kids that way of eating. And then second of all, a lot of times if I've already prepped all my meals and I'm making spaghetti or I'm making lasagna, I will still make the lasagna and I will personally take my food and I'll sit at the table with them because I think it's really important. Here's one thing a lot of parents don't do, and I say this like it's important, you guys. It's fellowship time. It's hanging out. What's your day like? What's up? And they'll say like my kids are like, "What's up, bro?" I'm like, "Bro." and whatever, they're teenagers, they're
Uh-huh.
boys and they're so anyway, we'll sit at the table, I'll make that food, and then yeah, I will have something different. And they know mom has a goal and she's dedicated, disciplined to hit that goal. And so I sit with them and have a meal with them, but I eat my own food. And I know that's hard for some at first, and that's why I said if it is hard making your own meals, then what I'm going to say is cook the same food that you're going to eat for your kids. Just have it have your seasonings out, have your soy sauces, your whatever it is on the table so they can play around with it and make it more foofy and yummy and stuff. When it comes to dessert, I make it creamy. I have 3 containers. You know what a creamy is, right? Oh
Yeah.
gosh. So I make those 3 of them in the freezer. And dude, I make Reese's peanut butter cup ones. I make them all good. So all of my kids eat them. I eat them all. Like so it's like we're having ice cream night, and you know it's healthy, but I put more peanut butter and chocolate in there. It's similar. I try not to make it completely a big deal. I try to really make it natural. Because if you make it a big deal, then they're like, oh, mom's dieting. Oh, she's dieting. And I don't like that. I'm not dieting. This is just a goal. This is what we do for athletes. And Kaikoa, he's my oldest son that's in the house. He's 16. We buy him protein milk things, shakes and things like that now. And he knows how important it is to have protein. I teach them about it. Even Solon, my youngest, he'll say, oh, sugar, we have to wait till we eat dinner. Or he'll say stuff like that. But it's not where it's like, it's so bad because it's not bad. I eat sugar. I just think teaching them healthy habits, and there's nothing wrong with that, really,
Exactly. I
right?
love your perspective so much. Like, I think that's really what it comes down to. And granted, I think there's some families that face the difficulty of they didn't already have those habits and lifestyles in place. So now they're transitioning their family into more of a healthy lifestyle. But that is a gift you get to give your family more than it is a
Exactly.
burden. So I think it's really great that like you're instilling the positive lifestyle choices and positive habits without the you can't, you shouldn't, you'll get fat, you'll get this, because that's all the language a lot of us heard growing up, but we know it's not true. We know it's more about nutrients and fuel and how we function than it is about you're gonna get fat or that's a fattening food.
Yeah, you don't, for me, like, and I've made a lot of mistakes, and there's times where I'll say something, I have to be like, oh, nope, nope, reword that, Carrie. That's not what you meant.
Yeah.
Um, shoot, I lost my train of thought. I don't know. There's the ADD mind. But I'll go back to this real quick is that I want to say you're not alone. When people say, well, like this is how we eat. We eat chicken nuggets. We eat a lot of fast food because we're on the run. Girl, I'm like, I have 6 kids. Like I've had 6 in my house at one time. It is a lot of work, but you can do it. I grew up on fast food, TV dinners. You know what those are?
Oh yeah, girl. That
Okay.
about sums it up for me too.
Okay. So we're the same page. Yeah.
If
And
it
so we'd
was
have
grandma's house or my aunt's house, TV
meatloaf,
dinner.
meatloaf TV dinners. How disgusting.
Hungry man.
Yes. The cheap ones, they're like blue or red. Or the little chicken nugget thingies, the
Yeah, what
dinosaurs.
were those kids? What kid cuisine?
Kid cuisines. Yes. I grew up on those too because they were like so cheap. And basically, and even my older kids, I will say, they, when did I? So I've been in the gym since high school, even though I was living crazy, like I said, I've still had this thingy for that kind of lifestyle. But so I'll say that it was because Keiko was 16, so like probably like 17 years ago. And I have a 23, 22-ish and almost 21-ish. So anyway, those 3 kids for years lived on the beginning of their years on all bad food. And so they did have a transition period because I mean, after I go to the gym, I take them out of the daycare and we'd go to Taco Bell. We'd be like, Taco Bell. Anyway, so it was a transition point for them, but they just adjusted. Kids
Mhm.
are resilient. You use that word with me. That's true.
Yeah.
And kids are very, and if you start teaching them why it's important, what protein does, they love big muscles. And I say, come on, guys, push-ups. And all my kids will do push-ups and fun things. And we
That's awesome.
talk about those. Yeah, right. And so, but they grew up in a gym too. But still, even if they didn't, we just talk about how important protein is, or having the right carbs, or, you know, I don't talk that much about fats. I might say, oh, avocado has really good fats in it, just randomly as I'm cutting it, but I don't really teach them about that. I really speak a lot about protein. Oh, you're gonna get big muscles. Look at that, because they're boys. You're not 3 boys
Yeah.
moms. They're like, Mom, look at these muscles, you know. And so, oh, that's so good. Keep eating that protein.
That's awesome.
Make it fun.
Are you a competitor looking to make mental gains and further your personal development? Are you struggling with the post show blues or feeling the pressure of prep? Maybe you're lost somewhere in the middle and not sure what's next. If you really want to make peace with food, your body, and your goals, then I highly recommend you check out my competitor card deck, which can be found at www.celestial.fit/cards. This is a free resource for competitors, and the deck includes 3 different series. One is affirmations and I am statements, another is the thought-provoking question prompts that you could journal on or just think about, and the last deck includes action steps with specific mentorship that is going to support you in those areas of which I just mentioned. So whether you're looking to feel better in your own skin, develop a healthier relationship with food, feel more motivated, connect deeply with yourself, or really get into your mindset to bring you closer to your goals, then these cards are for you, and I would love to see you utilizing them. Again, you can visit www.celestial.fit/cards to download yours right away. I love
So,
that. Yeah,
yeah,
making it fun is so important. And like teaching about it, I think is really the key. Like, why are we doing this? Not that we have to, it's that we're
you
blessed
don't,
to. It's a choice. We get to steward our body well. And clearly, you brought up there's other women at your gym too who ask you that question a lot. And your gym is primarily for women, but you do allow men on the weekends if they're
yeah,
related or connected in some
yeah.
way. So, why did you even decide to open a gym and what made you go women only for the most part?
Well, number one, I've always wanted to have a gym. Like that was like a pipe dream. Literally, I was like,
Oh,
oh
wow.
gosh, if I ever owned a gym, that'd be so cool. And um I never thought it was really gonna happen. And then yeah, I don't know. I ended up making it come true, and chose I chose a woman's gym because we don't have one here like that. And um I I love women. Honestly, that's my passion. And I don't even care if sometimes guys do come and my boys come and stuff. I just have a heart for women, and it's always been my ministry. I like to be a bridge to people and cultivate just healthy relationships all around, internally, externally. It's not just about looks. So having people come in there, I mean, most of us all hug and say I love you when they leave. It's We're just all very connected now. And that was my heart and my intentions. And then just having a little niche, like a little niche, how do you say that? Niche.
Niche.
I know I keep hearing different ones. I'm
I
like,
like
okay,
niche. I've not heard
I'm just
that. A niche.
I make up every word. I'm like, is that a word? I don't think it is, but I'm gonna use it anyway.
I love that.
Um, so having that, like a glute gym, is something that we don't have in Oregon. And you know, it's a small place pretty much. I mean, Oregon, Eugene is not that big. And we are having some really cool gyms being made here. But like again, having a personal training studio where people feel comfortable coming together and working on developing their, glutes is one thing, but honestly, it's not just a glute gym. I only named it to make it stand out. Like we do
Mhm.
upper body, lower body, and it's again, it's just so women can feel comfortable and connect and fellowship and build relationships. And we do like once a month we get together and we do dinners, and we have just outings, and it's even people that don't come to my gym, by the way, because I have a group on Facebook called Fitspirational, and I'll put something in there and people are like, I'm coming because they want to connect, right?
Wow.
And we have so much fun. And usually our groups are like, I don't know, sometimes they're like 30 people, and it's great. On a random Wednesday night, Friday night, we'll just meet up and connect, and it feels really good. So,
That's
yeah,
amazing.
I don't, yeah, it's really just, I think God led me to doing this. He took me out of a situation. I was at a gym for a long time, and it wasn't a positive thing for me. And so I believe God opened this door up for me to do what I do, and for this season,
Wow. Yeah,
yeah.
That is so amazing. I love that your vision really turned into exactly what you imagined and hoped for. And you don't just focus on, yeah, come and get a workout, but it's also community, it's connection, which is what I think everybody really craves. And women,
Mhm.
like, we thrive on friendships. It keeps us alive longer, really and truly. So to have that,
So
especially
true.
when you're on a new lifestyle journey, is so impactful.
Yeah, and that's so it. Like my heart for women and having the connections and like honestly, when I say a bridge, it's I met so I might be friends with a circle over here, some people over here, and then friends over here, and they don't even know each other, but somehow my heart is to bring them together. And now like I'll text someone like, oh, we're on a hike with this person over here. And it's like that is my heart. Like y'all don't need me. I'm just a meeting spot where y'all and then bye. Like it's incredible to see that. Like, I don't know. I think a lot of us are hungry for connections, and I think my gym has cultivated that deep
Yeah.
connection too. It's not again, like you said, it's not. We don't just come and work out. Although I do, we do a lot of different styles of training, progressive overload, and each their own. But like, it's just more about the relationship. I love it for me and for them too, actually.
Yeah, that's honestly amazing. And there's so many things that I really want to talk to you about just hearing you say this because I think you're very inspirational and hearing how you're using the gifts that God's given you is beautiful. And I see you and I'm like, wow, I love that she can, like, you're doing it all. That's how I view it. And
Thanks.
yeah, you should be really proud of yourself. And
Thank you.
you're welcome. I'm speaking genuinely and truly. It's very inspiring. And I want to hear about your journey to earning your pro card also. So, yeah, maybe
Wow.
walk us through that because you spoke about, you've been in all the different divisions.
Oh yeah.
So, how did you come back to bikini? What was your experience like in the other divisions? And ultimately, like, what what did you do to build your IFBB pro physique?
Great question. Okay, so in the beginning, I've always been I was small. I've kind of been muscular, and I've had bigger legs, as in not big, but like could be wellness, or figure. And the way I lifted in the beginning was super heavy for years. I lifted pretty heavy and just built this like more of a figure back then. By the way, figure now is bigger than it was. So I'll say 11 because so ever is 11. So like yeah, like 11, see 12. He's 12. I'm like, how old is my son? I don't even know. I have so many. Anyway, so many years ago, I built a physique that I was kind of a hybrid in between bikini and figure. And then as I did both and I did well in both, by the way. And then I wanted to try physique just because I was tiny but shredded. And so I leaned out and got really shredded and I won the overall in physique.
Holy
Look,
moly.
I know. And this is physique. Okay, so again, many years ago, now I'd be like, who is this bikini girl in physique? But I was little and mighty. So I did really well. So that was over years. And then I ended up getting pregnant. I had Solon. He's 5. And I was like, after Solon, I'm like, I want to go back to bikini. And I think like it was like 7. I forget now. I might have told you, but 7 months, 8 months. I don't know. Right after Solon, I pretty much went into bikini again. Just naturally went in bikini. I was already still fit. I mean, I had abs in my pregnancy and just from years. Yeah, if you look back, if you can see photos, you
Whoa.
can see the abs and I had nice shoulders still. I was pressing, I was well pressing too, but chest press like 50 pounds each,
That's
it was fun.
awesome.
And so I just went back into bikini and I had to so during COVID, I have a gym in my garage too, but I decided, I want to do that. So I started sculpting my body a little differently because in the past, right, I told you I had more muscle. I stopped working my legs and as much and then ended up I gotta back up here. Let me just back up
Yeah.
1 second.
Back
I
up.
did wellness. I didn't tell you anything about wellness. So
Yeah.
um, I was actually working with Adam for a moment, and Ashley would always pose with me. She'd call me and we'd FaceTime, and she'd tell me, you need to do wellness. You need to do wellness too. I'm like, Ashley, I haven't done my legs forever. She's like, I don't care. I want you to do wellness. She's like, why not? I do every show pretty much. And she's like, you're talking to me. I think you can do it all. So I'm like, okay, Ashley, I'm going to trust you. So then Ashley called Watson. And then, so then I went to Vegas just preparing for my pro show and then, or a pro show eventually, a qualifying show. So I went to Vegas and I won bikini overall and wellness overall. So she was right. And then I
Wow.
went to I know, crazy. And then I went to nationals and I think in this one I got second or third in wellness and then won my pro card. Is this right? I could be backwards somewhere because I kept doing shows, like 3 or 4 shows. But
Yeah.
regardless, I shaped my body differently. So I was a little bit smaller in the waist, popped out my shoulders, glutes, stopped doing my legs as much, and then won my bikini card in 2021 in Pittsburgh. One of my I love Pittsburgh shows.
Oh, me
Literally.
too. Well, I've only
Yeah,
done
they're
one
great.
and like I can't wait to go back. They're doing the NPC, they're doing like a natural pro qual. So I'm gonna compete in that. And I'm just
I
excited
love
it's in
it.
Pittsburgh. Like I love Pittsburgh.
Me too. I just want to go back and compete there. Like it's not it's just the best for me. My experience has been the
Yeah.
best shows there. And then also when I'm there, I just love to walk around and see all the buildings and the history and it's just and the
Yes.
people are nice there. Like
Yes.
yeah, my
I
experience has
didn't
been nothing but
expect it either, honestly.
really.
Like, I had no idea Pittsburgh was as nice as it was. Like, I was expecting it to be like most cities and be like, this is all right. But no, it was really great actually. It proved me wrong. And I'm actually looking at your NPC news gallery. So,
Oh
yeah,
geez.
2020 2022, you started competing as a pro. It was
Yes.
2021 at the Sin City Showdown. That's where you won your overall
That's
for both wellness and bikini.
yeah, good job. I'm so glad you looked it up. I need to write these down. Can I be honest? When somebody asked me, like less than a year ago, somebody asked me, where did you win your, or what was your first show or something like that? And I'm like, I have no idea. I have no idea. And
It
I
looks
can't,
like it was, I'll tell you. It looks
this is
it,
horrible confessions. These are
this
not
is
good.
a great confession.
No.
It looks like it was figure NPC Northern Classic and bikini NPC Northern Classic on October 14th, 2014. Does that sound
And
right?
possibly.
Yeah, I
Am I
think it
wearing a blue suit or purple?
blue.
Ugh. Can we just erase those photos?
Girl, the amount of photos I want to erase from NBC News Online because I did a couple shows in my last season that I should not have done before I switched
Oh,
coaches, and man, now I look back and I'm like,
it's
these will
embarrassing.
haunt me forever.
I know, me too. And so as you get older, I don't know how old you're, but for me, like, and maybe it's just maturity too. So I can't, maybe it's not an age thing. I start caring less. I'm like, this is just raw me. I mean, I just cried on TV. Or not on TV, but on here. And and like I used to care so much what people thought of
Yeah.
me and what they'd see like that. All those are horrible. You can see my hair extensions in some of them. There's like different colored hair and the suits
Uh,
are ugly and I don't think I have any eyebrows in some of them. Like, oh my gosh. But again, that was so many years ago. So
and it's part of your story, it's part of your journey. Like I look at it, I'm like,
totally.
I learned, it's fine. Look at me now, we're good. I'm happy with my progress, and yeah,
And again, it's like it's just a part of your story and that's who you are.
right.
And yeah, it's okay. And who cares what people think anyway?
Yeah, honestly. You know what? I actually was looking at your physique photos too. You are incredibly diverse. Like I could see,
I know.
but it's so crazy because now in your most recent photos, now I'm just getting excited looking at stuff, but like your most recent photos, like it's so obvious that when you committed to bikini, like you took the form of bikini, like you really molded yourself into it. So now I'm wondering, like, what was your most recent feedback? Because you did really well at both Wasatch and Emerald Cup. So what
Yeah.
was your feedback at those shows?
Um, because I think I lost like maybe by a point at Emerald. It was such a toss up. What was my feedback? It was nothing. It was so it was imposing. It was What did they say? Because I love all of them. Obviously, I mean, I work, those
Yeah.
are the stages I work, by the way. Um,
Uh-huh.
Emerald Cup, where I work the shows. Emerald
Yeah.
Cup, I think it was, I needed a little bit, maybe more upper shelf, and that was it.
Huh.
Everything else was on point. It was just a little bit more, I think, see, that's what I'm saying. I'm like, I'll remember you tell me. No, it's really, it was minute. It was tiny. Um, And so I think that's my goal is building my glutes up a little bit more. I had a hip injury and I can't tell you what happened. I don't know. It's just wear and tear. I'm in my mid 40s. I've also had 6 kids, you're birthing, your hips
Mhm.
go, you expand. So I do have something I'm kind of working with on my left side. But so I think that's kind of inhibited my growth. However, I will say if you don't train correctly, not that I think anybody and every, if you're not doing a show, train however you want, just get it done. But when it comes to your physique for shows for bodybuilding, it's an art. And so back in the day when I was doing all the shows or, in the beginning, I was just building a physique, right? I was just building.
Mhm.
And now I've dialed it in where I don't need to do all that stuff anymore. I don't do a lot of core like that. I don't do a lot of oblique stuff. Um I don't have to do all the things that I used to do. I really simmer it down. I mean, I work on my shoulders, I work on my glutes. Of course I do, my legs a little, but I don't go like crazy, nothing on quad. I'm very quad dominant. Um I just have body and bodybuilding aesthetically,
Yeah.
you can see that. And that's clear as
Mhm.
day. Like if you look at my physique, you look at my waist. I didn't even have as many kids and it's thicker because I worked it differently. I did heavy deadlifts and I heavy. And not that that's bad. I think if you need to build a base, that's great, a
Yeah.
foundation. But when you're already there, you need to maintain it and only work certain areas or not as heavy in, certain movements. Truly, for me, that's how my body responded and
Yeah.
it looks way better. My waist is like, it's a huge thing that my waist went down. Yeah.
Yeah, I saw that. That was one of the things that I noticed. Like your
Mhm.
body just took on more of like an S shape.
Yes. So that's why you can tell it is important to make sure that if you're in bikini now, to train like that, like a bikini, because you
And
will
that,
morph into figure.
yeah, and that can be difficult for acceptance too, because we like to train hard, a lot of us. But then again, with the way
Yeah.
bikini is, it's like so muscular, like, and so it's a different demand now. And so we can train really hard and we see that. Obviously, so I don't think it's much of a sacrifice as far as training goes, but there is like truth to this being an art. And so sometimes you're going to be
Mhm.
told, you don't need any more of this until you bring up this. And that's just the way it
Right.
goes.
And our bodies respond differently. So it's not one size fits all. Like if I say, hey, nobody should deadlift or something like that, which I do deadlift, bye Kaikoa, my son's leaving for school. That would be wrong. I think everyone's different, but um you can go heavy in those movements. It's just certain things for certain people. If you're doing hip thrusters and you're noticing or you just feel so much in your back and your erectors, and I'd say simmer it down, move to something else. Still do hip thrusters, just maybe figure out what works for you so you're out of your back, and you're not thickening that. Or there's so many other areas. And for me, I want to go heavy. I want to build that. I want to keep building for me that illusion. So my upper lats right here and my shoulders where I have that illusion and then my waist is so small. And then of course I need to get the glutes. Keep the glutes up. I've actually had the judges tell me, no, your glutes are fine, your glutes are fine. But when I zoom in on the photos, I can tell her glutes are a little bigger. The girl that won, her upper shelf's a little better. And so, and I just know, every girl can improve. I mean, most girls can improve their glutes. So yeah.
Yeah, and you did 2 shows already this year. So does that mean your season's done? Does it mean you're gonna wait till next year? Like what's your focus?
I have a girlfriend, Carolyn, who's Olympian, and she asked me to do a show with her I think it was in Pittsburgh too. So it's in September, I think. So yeah, I mean, you have a computer. I'm like, is it in September that there's a pro show? I'm thinking about that with her. Um,
September of next year.
yeah, yeah. So
That'll
we're for 2024. Oh yeah.
You're done for
Oh yeah.
this year and most of next until September.
I think so. And I think that's what she said. I forget right now, but um we'll see, you know. I
Yeah.
love it. As long as I can do it healthy
Mhm.
and because I'm in my mid 40s. So I just for me too and balance again, that breaks my heart. Like, when we bring up family and prioritizing things, I'm telling you what, like my other three kids are gone. They're out of the house, and so I'm looking at Kaikoa, my 16-year-old who's just leaving, and I'm realizing time is short. And that it pulls on my mama strings. And
Yeah.
lately I've been so emotional over just wanting to be the best mom that I can be because I feel like I've made a lot of mistakes with the other three. I kind of said that with some of the choices I've made, and I want to make sure that I can say I did my best no matter what. And so if that means me not competing in 2025, then no, I won't. And I am very blessed to say that I work with Elaine and Brad Craig.
Mhm.
And do you know who they are?
Yeah, I've seen you do lives with them.
Yeah. So they run the Pacific Northwest. They're like, I think the head chairman, and um they're known. I mean, they know everybody. Obviously, they've been around from the very get-go. And I get to work with them. I run the stages in the Northwest. I do a lot of other things too. I'm the cameraman for Sasquatch. That was this last
Well,
one that just, yeah, my husband was Sasquatch, by the way. If you watch the
I
video,
saw that.
yeah, he was
That
Sasquatch.
was
So
epic.
yeah, so I'm so blessed to say that I get to work and still have my foot in the door and have
Yes.
I'm gonna when I retire, Lord willing, I'm gonna be, a judge maybe and or I'll be a part of it because it's just what I've done for the last 11 years, 12 years. So,
Exactly.
yeah.
I feel like when you're in it and you're in it for more reasons than like just stepping on stage, it's hard to get out of it. Like you really fall in love with being able to have an impact on people's lives. Like I don't foresee a future where I'm not like doing the podcast in some form or helping competitors with their mental health in some form because I love to do it. It's my passion. And you
Yeah.
did just mention your husband, and I really wanted to talk about this because I thought one of your posts you made was really beautiful. And that was that you have come to really prioritize love as an action and a choice, especially in the midst of like craziness of life.
Yeah.
So, how has that looked over the years of being together and through the ups and the downs?
Man, yeah, that's another loaded question. No,
I'm good at
it's
those.
I love it. No, I love real life. Um, anyway, I'll say it's a roller coaster ride, right? So of course at first everything's, love it, everything's action. You're so happy to do it all. And then, you have kids and you have life kicks in and time, you start going this way. And I'm telling you, real life as in like we were separated, I actually moved out of the house for a year um and then I moved back into the house and he moved out for a year because he was making sure he's getting his stuff right. And like, you know, you carry whatever you have, from your childhood, whatever you've been through, you do carry that into relationships, right?
Mhm.
And so that's real life, and you can't escape that. So over time, some of that stuff can creep back into your relationship. I made bad choices. He's made some wrong choices. So, um, long story short, coming together, here we are. We're here together, healthy, and we're getting older too. But we've learned a lot, and we know not a day goes by without making that deposit, that love. It's spending time together. Quality time is huge, by the way. Um, communication. We actually have an app together that we are on, and we like it's so fun. It's like it's things that I thought I already knew about. We'll try to like it's like a matching game. So
Wow.
about each other. And then it helps us communicate, helps us see each other differently. It's really cool. Um, but yeah, like I think just journeying through life, the ups and downs, has been crazy, but coming together right now, and it's only been really like like 3 months of we're in classes, we're in stuff together. So
Yeah.
really connecting again. And it's been amazing and life changing for our kids too, and seeing that together as a family unit. It's not that we were ever like, I mean, I think at one point I thought, because I'm very emotional and very like, oh, I'm done and all that. And I
Yeah.
literally, like, I was going to be done. But really, in my heart of hearts, like, it's, we love each other so much. And we've come to the realization, like, we make choices every single day to make sure that we put our family first, each other first, and then our family. So Jason, me, I look at it as like a house, by the way. Like
Mm,
Jason's here, I'm here, we're the roof, and then everything falls under that, right? Our
mm,
kids, God's above us, of course. He's like the clouds and the sun, he's everything. But then it's our house. And if we're not here and we have cracks, we're not together, then everything's gonna crumble. You can't have a house built on, you know, crappy roof and like, everything's leaking through and holes everywhere. And it's been messy. And we're finally seeing that. It's been
mm.
really great. The last few months have been really, really amazing together.
Wow. That's so
Lots of
powerful.
vulnerability.
That's what it takes, right? Especially if you're
Yeah.
bringing old stuff.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's another thing, like going to the past in vulnerability. Like my dad was really hard, like mean, but loved me. And I see how I'm like, oh,
Hmm.
he was awful and I didn't know how to cry in front of him. So I'd always cry and hide. And so like being vulnerable and being able to talk about these things makes me cry. That's when I cry, like just saying, talking about my family, the heart of things, it does something to me because it's so important to me. And now I'm able to, I just start crying. Like I still walk away, I'll just cry. I mean, I was praying on the way to work this morning and I was like crying about, just fighting for my kids and their faith and their stuff. And it's a beautiful thing to be able to just cleanse your soul by some tears, you know.
It is. It truly is. I'm so amazed and appreciative of you just talking about real things in life and how you've navigated them, how you continue to navigate them, your perspectives on it all too. My only regret is we don't have more time to talk because I really feel like I could talk to you forever about everything. Like, you're amazing, and I hope that
Oh,
I can bring you back on sometime because I would really love to maybe even magnify certain things even more. But I want to ask you before we kind of start to wrap things up is if there was anything I didn't ask you or bring up that you wanted to make absolute sure we did talk about.
no, I think this is good. I mean, I would love to come back on again if if we want to do this again, we can carry on because I'm sure we kind of just,
It's a
but
great broad
we,
stroke with some
yeah,
really deep points. And then there's like, I look at some of my other stuff that I didn't get into yet with you, and I'm like, ooh, that'd be interesting. That might be interesting. But
part two, part
yeah,
two.
that would be
Here's the
awesome.
broad look. Now we're gonna narrow it in. Yeah.
Yeah. So, with that being said, what would be your best advice for someone who's never competed before but wants to? And then your best advice for somebody who's on their road to pro?
Ooh, that one. So the first one I would say, honestly, if you know a coach or if you have friends that have a coach and they just love it, I would say inquire, but inquire on the phone, FaceTime, whatever is best for you to really ask all the questions. I think somebody that is starting out and really wants to get into it and they have no direction, I feel like going under someone's wing is really, really helpful. It will, for me, because I did it on my own and for a long time. And I honestly, if I could have just went in, it will give you a better foundation, a better pathway in. But make sure you do interview them because it's important because there's a lot of people out there, right? Like you're like, oh no. So interview them and then start slowly, really start slowly, go in, but start slowly and then see if it's for you. So that's that. Hire a coach. Number two, what'd you say?
If you're giving advice to someone on their road to pro.
On their road to pro. Oh my gosh. That is a great one. I'm going to say be relentless. Don't give up because it's going to get hard, especially on your road to pro. It's going to be hard. And you just persevere on, push on, and don't give up on your dreams, no matter what. It doesn't matter if you fail here, if you don't feel good enough, take all that doubt and negativity and just close it, take it, capture it, throw it out the door because you're going to get a lot of that, especially on your road to pro. You're going to look at all the pros and say, well, they're better than me. They have this, they have that. Nope. Nope, no more comparison. You look at you and you go all in. But I am a goal setter. I am determined no matter what. I'm type A, like I said. So I will do it. No, I will do whatever it takes to get there. So I will say if that's your hunger, you go all in and you get there and don't let anyone tell you you can't, you won't. And it's mostly, mainly including yourself because yourself you'll have to defeat the most, I believe. My self-doubt.
Mm. Wow, I needed to hear that. So thank you for that. That was so awesome. And just talking with you has been amazing. And I hope that everybody listening gets the opportunity to reach out or if you guys want to just like post on your story, tag us or reach out to Carrie, let her know what resonated. Or I'm sure, you know, Carrie's so friendly. She'd be
I love
willing
her.
to open up. So, with that said, how can people connect with you and even inquire about working with you or coming and visiting you at your DNA
At
group?
my gym. Yeah, well, I live in Oregon, so Eugene, Oregon. And yeah, you can follow me on Instagram. It's, I'm pretty old school when it comes to my name. It's Carrie Gallic, IFBB Pro. Pretty simple to remember. You can also, I'm on TikTok, Instagram, Facebook. And DNA Glute Lab is my gym. And I love to have people come. And honestly, if you are traveling by for any reason, just, message me and I will open the doors for you and we can all train. I'd love training with people when they're traveling by. I've actually opened up my house. That's so cheesy, but bikini athletes are like, hey, I'm coming to Eugene. I'm like, okay, doors open, girl, let's go. And they've stayed with me upstairs. I have a guest room. And anyway, so yeah, DNA Glute Lab and then my name. That's it.
Wonderful. We'll put that
Yeah.
in the show notes page. So you guys, that's always on celestial.fit/podcast. If you're listening right away, it'll be at the top of that page. If you're listening in the future, just scroll down to the category section, which is alphabetized. Not only will you find how to connect with us, but you're also going to see a full summary of our episode, a bulleted list of the topics we covered, as well as the episode timestamps. So you can go back and listen to your favorite parts or share it with your friends, your family, your teammates. Let them know what resonated with you. And of course, thank you guys for tuning in this week. And if this is your first time, make sure you subscribe so you don't miss future episodes. If this is maybe your second or 100th or 300th, we're on like 370 something episodes, I
That's
think. So
incredible.
yeah, it's pretty amazing. So, whatever amount it is, if you guys feel inspired to leave a rating or review, that goes such a long way for the podcast and getting others to hear these incredible stories. So, with all of that being said, I hope you all have an amazing rest of your day, night, or morning, wherever you are in the world while you're listening to this episode. Just make it awesome.